And welcome back. Stacey Stangel, West Central State University Extension. I'm an FCS educator in Northeast Ohio. And today's recipe that we're making is summer Italian vegetables. We have a variety of different vegetables that are typically grown during the summer. And in some cases, we have an overabundance and we want to share them. So I'm bringing you a recipe that you can make and use up some of your vegetables that you may have an abundance of. Or you can also share this recipe with others and give them the abundance of veggies that you have from the garden. So we're going to start out with 2 tablespoons of canola oil. And we're going to heat that up. The other ingredients, we're going to saute our vegetables. We have zucchini and yellow squash cut up in half rounds. And then we also have tomatoes. You can use whole tomatoes or you can use these smaller varieties that are very prolific, like the cherry tomatoes. And you can just cut them in half if they're small or cut them in quarters if they're a little bit larger. And then we're going to put onions and also green pepper. So these are typical, easy to grow vegetables. And whether you have a garden out in the yard or you have a garden on your balcony or porch, all of them are easy to grow in a container. So you can have fresh produce all during the summer. And in this case, we're going to make a 1-pan meal that is going to be low carb. But if you did want to add a carb component to it, you could pair it with some whole grain noodles or brown rice. So we're going to saute our vegetables until they're soft. We don't want to burn them, obviously, but we do want to saute them so that when we go and add the rest of the ingredients that they are ready for serving. The question I get often, especially about different types of oils, I use the canola oil in here. The 2 best oils, researchers say, are olive oil and canola oil. Both have their pros and cons. But when it comes to cooking, canola oil has a higher temperature that you can cook at. So if you're going to saute or stir fry, you may want to use canola oil. If you're using it in a fresh marinade or in salad dressing, olive oil does a good job as well. So you can use them interchangeably in recipes. You could use canola oil also in cold recipes. But the olive oil, both of them are vegetable oils. And that is another question I get about, well, what do they mean when they say vegetable oil? And that just means it comes from a vegetable of some sort, whether it's corn, it's soybean, cottonseed, canola oil, which comes from a certain seed out of Canada. And they're pressed to make different types of oil. Now there are other oils on the market like avocado, coconut oil, and really it's your preference, but they have varying degrees of healthiness. So do your research, especially if you have any health concerns, heart disease, diabetes, that the type of oil you use will make a difference. So our vegetables are softening up and we have them well mixed together. So the next step, we're going to take our chicken. If you are vegan, you could use tofu. Or you could have this without any meat in it whatsoever, but you could chop up what you have. You could even actually use a turkey sausage, a low fat. And so we're going to sprinkle our chicken in here and heat that up. This is cooked chicken. If you were to use uncooked chicken, that would be the first step that you do. You would need to cook the chicken and then set that aside so that you can chop it up, dice it, and shred it so it fits into the variety of shapes and colors that are in here. Make sure that you cook your chicken to 165 degrees if you're cooking it from raw. When you're reheating it, get it to 160. Use a thermometer. to check that. So we're going to let that sit and set up here for a second. The last ingredient that we're going to use is cheese, and so we don't put the cheese on until the end because we don't want the cheese to separate and then get tough. All we want the cheese to do is melt. So we'll let our mixture cook through, get to 160 degrees. We're going to turn off our pan. It's gotten to that. And then we're going to sprinkle the cheese over top and let it melt. We're going to make sure we have our seasonings in there. So we got a little Italian going on. I'm going to put a teaspoon of Italian dressing, or Italian seasoning, and half a teaspoon of garlic powder. At the end of it is when, if you salt and pepper, you're just going to put on it to taste. So instead of incorporating the salt and pepper into the recipe, especially the salt, we're going to wait until you've tasted it and then decide how it would best fit. So we're going to mix it up really well so that the cheese melts into the recipe. And we're going to move our spices around with it as too. So we have made our one-pot summer Italian vegetables. This was Stacey Stangel with Central State University Extension. Thank you.